We will move on to our next speaker. Our next speaker is Ms. Anooshe Mushtaq. She's a presenter at Australian National University. She works in the management capacity at Australian Defence IT projects, especially related to the cybersecurity. Ms. Anooshe has an extensive experience in working with the Australian public and private sector organizations within the information and communication technology sector. She's an accomplished public speaker and regularly invited to speak at the national security conferences on the topics of counter-violent extremism and social media extremism and terrorist online recruitment strategies. She publishes regularly in the Australian security magazines, and she's an associate member of the Australian Institute of Professional Intelligence Officers. So being an integral part of the Australian Defence IT projects related to the cybersecurity, of course, Ms. Anooshe will be enlightening us about the Australia's cyber strategy. So Ms. Anooshe, please.
Thank you, Mr. Siddiqui, for inviting me to present on Australia's cybersecurity strategy. In June this year, the Australian government released Australia's Cybersecurity Strategy 2020. The strategy is an update of the previous Cybersecurity Strategy 2016. It is largely a continuation of the work commenced under the 2016 strategy and addresses themes common across many national cybersecurity strategies. The updated strategy continues most of the focus areas from the 2016 strategy, but is notable for more directly calling out state actors and state-sponsored adversaries, and for a significant change in approach to protect national critical infrastructure. The strategy allows almost 3 times more funding per annum than the previous 2016 strategy. It also calls for rapid expansion of personnel in the nation's cybersecurity agencies and identifies a new regulatory regime to enforce cybersecurity standards for public and private sector providers of national critical infrastructure. Having been finalized and released during the COVID-19 pandemic, the strategy uses the rapid expansion of alternative working arrangements and the resulting increase in online activities to illustrate and make the case that government must increase its efforts to ensure the safety of citizens online, just as they work to provide a safe and secure physical environment. Based on the 2016 cybersecurity strategy, the Australian government established Australian Cybersecurity Centre, established the joint cybersecurity centres to engage state and territory governments and industry, increasing cyber skills and education investments. Also, they established the 24/7 Global Watch, appointing the Ambassador for Cybersecurity, established the Australian Cybersecurity Growth Network, and Cybersecurity Cooperative Research Centre. The COVID-19 pandemic highlighted the evolving nature of cyber threats. Opportunistic cyber criminals quickly adapted their methods to take advantage of more Australians working, studying, and connecting online. Between 10th and 26th of March this year, the Australian Cybersecurity Centre received over 45 pandemic-themed cybercrime and cybersecurity incident reports of COVID-19 themed scams. Campaigns were designed to distribute malicious software like malware or harvest personal and financial information from unsuspecting Australians. In the strategy, it is stated that the partnerships between governments, businesses, and communities are important in ensuring Australia is cyber secure. We are living in a digital world. We are regularly communicating and connected with our colleagues, friends, and families via various social media platforms like Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and more. However, as the digital space has increased, so have the cyber threats. Cyber criminals' aim is to infiltrate IT systems from anywhere in the world. Nation-state and state-sponsored actors seek to compromise networks to obtain economic, policy, legal, defense, and security information for their advantage. These actors tend to be sophisticated and well-resourced, whose actions could impact Australia's national security and economic prosperity. The Australian Cybersecurity Centre has worked closely with Australia's major telecommunication providers and web browser companies, Google and Microsoft, to disrupt the foreign criminals. These actions include flagging websites as malicious at the web browser level and blocking them from phone users. We also need to keep in mind that human behavior is almost always part of the problem. Most cybersecurity incidents have an element of human error. This means it is critical that all Australians know how to stay secure online. The online safety includes protecting individuals, families, and communities from harmful content and behaviors such as cyberbullying. The E-Safety Commissioner has been established in Australia as the main point of contact for the public online safety. It is important that we as professional academics, policymakers, researchers, and IT specialists must educate our communities, families, and friends on the risks associated with devices connected to the digital world. Globally, we must combine efforts to protect our societies from cyber criminals. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Ms. Anooshe. My first question will be that what do you suggest for the Pakistan, as we are in a very nascent and developing stage? Pakistan have developed its cyber law a couple of years ago, but we do not have comprehensive framework for the national cybersecurity, or for securing the national cyberspace. It includes the security of the individuals, their freedom of speech, along with the security of the national cyberspace. Like, our cyberspace is vulnerable to the external threats. Pakistan have been ranked as the 7th most vulnerable country. What do you suggest? What should be the starting point for the country to develop its national cyber strategy?
Yeah, so Australia started as a way that there are different government agencies. To start with, like there's Department of Defence, but within Department of Defence, we've got ASD, which is the Australian Signals Directorate, which is the intelligence and cybersecurity arm. Also, recently, as I mentioned, in 2016, they actually created Australian Cybersecurity Centre. And the reason for creating Australian Cybersecurity Centre was to combine the threat analysis or the threat feeds which a lot of other agencies get. For example, like ASIO, which is an intelligence organization, or Australian Federal Police, or Attorney General's Department. Previously, what was happening, they were just having their own threats and they were analyzing that. So it wasn't a combined effort. So this has really created a holistic view for Australia, how we can share the threat analysis. Also, Australia works a lot with the Five Eyes, for example, USA, France, and other countries to share that threat analysis. And what that means, before it strikes another country, the threat is analyzed and we can action on that. From the Pakistan's point of view, I think it's a very simple thing. So I've been working in IT in the cybersecurity space for a long time. And I can present examples where, you know, as simple as not having a secure password on your firewalls, or, for example, not having a secure password on your laptop can actually really affect an organization. And I'm talking about government departments where I worked in a specific project where it was a very serious government department. But when we investigated, it was as simple as, you know, they had a firewall and the password was password. So I think we really need to think about educating people. So education is the key. And as I mentioned, that Australia has established e-safety commissioner, and that is for general public. So parents can view what is online safety, what is their kids viewing. I mean, kids these days, you know, from 5 years old, they have got iPads or iPhones. But what is safety? What is online safety is the key, because the new generation, which is coming out in all around the world, or even in Pakistan, will have all sorts of devices. I hope that answers your question.